Wow, February 2nd, and we've already had some meetings. As expected, the Feds were meeting, and the Fed's rate went up by 0.25%. And this is actually the smallest increase that they've done in the eight increases in the last 11 months. So, what's actually more interesting is that the Feds are actually telling us or signaling that the future is looking like even more increases. So they are letting us know that the rates are anticipated to keep going up before the inflation is brought to the Fed's target of 2%. So investors were actually hoping that the Fed will back off that sentiment and change a little bit of their policy. But I want to point out that mortgage rates are impacted by market forces that are beyond the Fed's actions, and they will not necessarily change at the same pace at the Fed's moves. So the change of 0.25 doesn't mean automatically mortgage rates are up 0.25%. Actually, the mortgage rates often shift a bit before the Fed act in anticipation of the changes. So, should you hold the idea of buying a home, or should you um, or what should you do actually with the Fed's news? So I would say don't focus on what the Feds are doing. Yes, stay informed, like I'm providing information to you. However, if you are going through a divorce, if you are looking to buy your first home, if you are transitioning, um, you're getting married actually, and you need a bigger house, so the family size went up, or you are, I was going to transition, I meant like transfer to a different state. It makes make sense for you to still purchase because rent is still going up. Now, if you have a home and you have equity, this is a perfect time because of the amount of equity you may have to do a line of credit, access the equity, and cash out to improve your monthly cash flow. Now, even in the idea of purchasing a home, there are options being provided like a buy down, a 2-1 buy down, meaning that if the rate is 7%, you can start at 5, then it goes to 6, and then it goes to 7. I'm not saying this is the way to go, but there are options to help with the process of buying, even though you qualify with a higher interest rate. But for the first 2 years, you get a break on the interest rates, on the monthly payment, which is the most important. It's not so much the rate, right? You want to qualify and know that you're comfortable with the payment, not so much the rate. Whether the rates are low or high, we always want to get the best based on the current circumstances. So, a little bit background on the Fed. The Federal Reserve Board controls the federal funds rate and discount rate, which are actually charges for overnight loans from bank to bank or from the Fed to member banks. The rate was lowered to nearly zero back in 2020 in response to the pandemic. So those historic measures are now being totally reversed. Um, and this is, like I mentioned earlier, this is the eighth increase since March of 2022. So the Federal Housing Finance Agency reports that home prices fell to the fifth straight month in November, though they landed just 0.1% lower than October's level. Pending home sale rose in December for the first time since May. So that's a sign that the buyers and the sellers are now adjusting to the current market conditions. Now, the last point I want to make is the Census Bureau reports that US ownership rate climbed to 65.9% in the fourth quarter of 2022, which is up by 0.04% over last year. So, getting information about the market is great. However, look at your circumstances. Do you need to buy another house? If so, let's look at what you would qualify for. Let's look at your payment. If you have access to equity, you could buy your next home from using the equity. You can buy an investment. You can buy a vacation home. Let's be in a conversation. Let's not freeze because of what's going on. Let's actually remain educated of what's going on in the market, but most importantly, what's happening in your household that could make an impact in improving your cash flow or increasing your real estate portfolio. So I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, have a wonderful month and remain healthy and safe. Thank you.